Hey everybody, welcome to Sew with Joe. Today we're switching gears from where we left off last time. I'm going to put the blanket project away for a little while and get on to a pair of my jeans that needs a little bit of attention. And on this particular pair, I have a open spot here where I put my hand and I keep catching my finger when I keep putting my hand in there. So I need to address this area, clean it up a little bit, and then put a patch in right here. So the patch I've chosen is going to be a beeline patch. I'll talk about beeline later on, but it looks like it'll fit very nicely just in that corner and along this seam and the top seam, tie everything in nicely. So first we'll do some deconstruction. I'm not really one to take anything off of these jeans, but every once in a while you kind of need to make it actually just work. So yeah, we'll do a little bit of a snip job, get rid of a few things, and we'll get on to the positive world news. And this rivet actually tore out from the backing of the jeans, so I'm going to cut that out. I think I'm actually going to leave the American company tag on just because, and I keep catching my hand on here going in, so I'm going to trim out just these bits so that I can get my hand in and out of my pocket easier. And then patch placement and pinning. I had my pin cushion here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Still haven't sorted that thing out quite yet, but that's okay. I can still use it. And I'm going to trim out some of these bits just so it doesn't get bulky underneath. Actually, what I usually do and what I should do with you guys too is I burn them off. I don't like cutting stuff off my jeans, I'd rather burn it. So just get rid of some of the fuzzes. Loose threads. It's kind of how certain barbers do their barbering. They'll actually burn the hair off. A little bit at a time, and then it's kind of like what I'm doing, just kind of brush the hand over and put out the fire, and there's your haircut. Just gets off all the longer extraneous bits, and away you go. I think I'll leave those in. Should be okay. Cool. Coffee jars. So huge news today out of the cancer treatment world. There's a blood cancer called multiple myeloma, or myeloma, probably myeloma. And in Spain, doctors have come up with a treatment for that, and have run some tests. And 18 of 30 patients who would have otherwise been considered last chance, or, you know, make your arrangements now kind of patients have been completely put into remission. So that's a 60% remission rate, which is awesome. And also, of those 30, 75% of them had shown no cancer progression after 1 year. So that's pretty massive. And this could, well, they used it as a last chance treatment after people had done marrow transplants and chemo already, and everything else had failed. So if they could do this treatment rather than bone marrow transplants, and chemotherapy, could drastically improve their life. Because I think what it was, if I remember the article, the science right, they're taking white blood cells out of the patients themselves and reprogramming them. And then those white blood cells are reprogrammed to go in and, well, not become cancer cells and attack the cancer cells. So, you know, a little bit of hope for certain cancer patients who previously had very little hope. Now, one thing that I heard, to stick kind of on the medical topic but change subject a bit, one thing I heard but I didn't research or anything, you know, please fact check me on this one. I heard that the HIV vaccine that's out now is 97% effective. 97%. So 97% of the people who get HIV don't progress to AIDS, and yeah, that's gonna save a ton of lives. Thimble is so handy. Very generous gift from my wife. Yeah, for doing pinning, sometimes you gotta go at weird angles and stuff, and that really can really save you. Right there. Clover, made in Japan. Nice little piece. Okay, looks like our pinning is done for today. We're gonna grab the big old couch needle. Use up the last little bit of red thread to get everything started, and then we'll switch over to black. A little sip of coffee. Okay, so what we want to do here is, since there was a hole under here, still is a hole under here, I guess I missed that corner, I'm going to try to tie into that corner and into there. and make that a priority, and then once I get that secured, I'm going to stitch the top to get that line straight, and then I can just sew everything else. Do a stitch from the outside. It's going to show, I realize. Just past where the hole is, into some of the remaining denim around it, and just tie in. So if you're watching and you have a piece of clothing, something like my jeans, you know, worn for decades and patches on patches, and you know, not much original left. Let me know what you have. I'd love to hear about it, see it, hear the story behind it. Leave a comment. Try and snug this up real good, get into that corner as well as we can. One thing I read that was really encouraging, just to completely switch topics, switching over to wildlife. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Endangered Species List. I'm sure we've all heard of it. Very encouraging news for that list. Of the almost 300 species that they have on that list, 99% of them have thus far avoided extinction, and many of them are coming back. So that's hugely encouraging news, shows what conservation efforts can actually do. We'll have a story about more conservation episodes next conservation methods next episode. Wow, I got lost in that one. So yeah, stay tuned next episode. Good news, big conservation story. And now, related to that one, staying on the same topic this time, and another one that you want to fact check me on. I didn't check into this one, but apparently pandas have been taken off of the endangered list. Now I don't know I doubt that it's the U.S. endangered species list. It's most likely a UN thing or something. I don't really know. I'm still learning about all this stuff as I'm going along. So, but yeah, pandas are no longer considered endangered, which I never thought I would see that day. I genuinely thought that pandas would just dwindle and only be seen in zoos. And it's really encouraging to hear that conservation efforts are actually paying off, and the change in mindset in the world is happening, and it's working. And that's massively encouraging. Cheers. Some more good world news, and to me this is really great news. Being a country boy originally, and living in a place where roads are extremely slippery for a good chunk of the year, and slippery for mice, I should add. The people in charge of these things, are changing over from using road salt to melt off the roads to using more natural alternatives, most notably sugar beet extract. And that may not seem all that significant to some. Where I am, that's massive, and the salt added into the environment has major ecological implications. So I'll get into that more in a sec, but just wanted to keep you with me in case you're wondering what the, why is not having road salt important? Well, it's pretty big. It's a major thing here. Now, what the salt does in a positive way is it basically just raises the temperature of, or raises the melting temperature of the snow and ice so that it melts off when it is warmer out, basically, or colder out, I should say. So ice will melt at, -10 when usually it would melt at 0. If you don't know what temperature range I'm using, then yeah, don't worry about it. It's not that important. It changes anyways. And these, the sugar beet extract does the same thing, just in a more natural way with the salt. The negative aspects of the salt is it kills vegetation. It's basically you're salting the earth. And it can really throw an ecosystem off. Gets into the waterways and can kill off aquatic life because those things can't live in salt water when they're used to being freshwater. And I'm actually going to use yellow thread for this. I've decided just for something different and to match the beeline. Thread here. I don't think I have much else for yellow on these, so I'm going to try to accent and make it kind of stand on its own. Now, some of the alternatives that they're using for road salt are, as I mentioned, a sugar beet extract. Some have been using pickle juice, some cheese brine, and some have been using leftover beer. So I guess beer that was unsold or couldn't be sold or whatever. Actually using beer to clear the roads. I don't know if all of those are environmentally sound alternatives. I haven't done the research into them. So if you know if those are bad, like, I don't know, I can't really see pickle juice, like, doesn't it have salt as well? So it would just be doing the same thing. I'm not sure. Let me know if you know, because I don't know, you know. So I'll get this first yellow stitch in. "97% efficient HIV vaccine." That's wild. Never thought I'd hear that. But salt on the roads. One place that it's had a significant impact and has had and continues to have a significant impact is on the Great Lakes. Around the Great Lakes, there's a lot of snow and ice and water, ice buildup that needs to come off the roads, and so they salt and they salt and they salt, and the areas around those places are famous for the rust on their vehicles and all their stuff. And I just realized I was going to start at the top here and work my way down the sides, but it seems to be lining up pretty good, so I'm just going to keep going with it. So that's one major thing for me, because I own a number of vehicles. Is that you won't have to battle with rust on your vehicles as much, because driving in the nearest big city to me is like driving your vehicle through a saltwater car wash in the springtime. Because all the road salt is still on the roads and all the snow is melting off, and you drive through these puddles and the salt water gets into every piece of your vehicle, and it just rots everything away. So this is massively good news for any vehicle owner, just for that alone. And then one thing that they've been doing is they'll mix the sugar beet extract with 20% chloride, and that apparently makes it so that it actually works better than road salt. I guess just the extract itself worked, but didn't work as well unless you combine it with some chloride. I think the leftover beer is kind of a cool idea. So what else? What do you do with waste beer? It seems odd that there would be such a thing. But I guess, you know, sometimes you make a batch and it's unsellable. What do you do? You know, sell it to the local government to use as road de-icer. Is the new answer. And I know some people drink pickle juice, so, you know, they're probably sitting there wondering, why are you dumping it on the roads? But I'm sure there's enough pickle juice that doesn't get drank out there that does go to waste. And that's the big thing. You can't just think on a local, small scale either, because there's always the manufacturing to take into account. Pickle manufacturers are going to have a lot of brine and some stuff that they can't use, and etc., etc. So when you can harness what industry throws away, I think that's a big step forward. Is people would be amazed at what gets thrown out on big jobs or large scale manufacturing, you know, things that the manufacturing process creates and they just have no way of using. So when you can harness waste, you can change the world. I'll say that again, when you can harness waste, you can change the world. And that's the thing, we, as a species, are creating a ton of waste. Billions of tons of waste, to be more exact. And if we can't, as they say, close the loop on manufacturing and use everything and respect what we're using. If we can do that, then we can change the world for the better so many ways. Sorry, getting a little lost in that thought. You know, it's those what if statements, the what if, you know, what if the richest people in the world would give, you know, even a few % of their net worth. And that happens somewhere, like some mega rich people actually do care, and they actually do give back. Cheers. I've been seeing a lot of the videos about people asking homeless people for change, or you know, money for the bus, or you know, if they can wear their jacket or something like this, and then if the person does give, then the person who was asking gives them, you know, 100 times whatever. Like if they ask for $1, they'll give them a $100 bill. If they ask to borrow a jacket because they're cold, they'll get them like a tent and sleeping bag and food, and you know, just repaying. When people give without, oh, what's the right word? Without hesitation and without thought for themselves, especially when they're in those situations, I think that's pretty amazing that they get back more. And it's cool that the people that can do that sort of thing do that sort of thing. Because to them, you know, to the people that are doing it, it's probably about the same, about the equivalent investment as that person giving $1. You know, someone going out and spending a few hundred, you know, someone who has thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, that's, you know, percentage-wise could be similar to that person giving them $1, probably even more so, because that $1 might be all they have. I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to tuck this thread around the back. Actually, no, I'm going to leave that over top. Just tie it in tighter. I was going to try to hide it behind, but I'm like, go for functionality here. And I'm trying to catch the bottom edge of this seam just so that it kind of stays hidden but still grabs. Ties the patch in to that seam a bit, at least. Pull that pin. Come here. Oh, I need to remember to pull the threads out to the side when I'm doing this. Just try to keep a consistent line, kind of like what I was doing here. Keep the yellow line on the outside, kind of frame everything. See if I can correct that, and if not, it is not that important. I'm going to start pulling from the top now, instead of from above. Get my voice back a little bit here. Just kind of pick at them, try to get them to come around a little bit. Once you're a few stitches in, it's kind of tough to get it back. There we go, that's a lot better. And I should probably tell you what Beeline is, since you've been sitting there staring at the patch this whole time. Beeline is a brand name, and they sell what they call hemp wick. I think I've spoken on it before. Basically what it is hemp twine coated with beeswax. And it has a million uses. You can use it in gardening for tying things off. You can use it for tying anything. There's where most of your million uses come in. I've heard surfers will actually take this stuff and they will braid it, and they'll use it as the tether between their foot and the surfboard, because it is waxed and it is hemp, so extremely strong and water resistant. There are a number of different brands, and what they're primarily marketed for is for lighting smoking materials. So if you're lighting a cigar, you're not using a match, you're not getting that taste. You light this first, and then you light your cigar. You can use it for cigarettes, marijuana, in a bong, because in the water pipes it's a enclosed loop system, and anything that goes into you. So it's nice to not have butane getting into your lungs, or the combusted parts of butane getting into your lungs. Also, you don't have to worry about flint, hard metals getting into your system that way, that sort of thing. So yeah, Beeline, I did a comparison video actually on my channel, and Beeline came out on top. I went around to a number of companies asking for samples, and so I got a few small samples from some companies, and Beeline sent me what they call their starter kit or supporter kit or something, I can't remember. This was a long time ago. So they sent me a whole bunch of wick and some accoutrement, some various things to go along with the hemp wick, and tested all the different types of wick, and the thick Beeline wick was my favorite of all the ones that were out. I found they were the most consistent, and this is not paid advertisement, this is just my opinion. The thick wick is the best in my opinion. What happened here? There we go. Got a little tangled up. A lot of the other companies had either very thin wick, either had not enough wax, so that everything just burnt off way too quickly, or they had too much wax so that it was kind of goopy and didn't look very professional. And this stuff is really good. It's just consistent, evenly waxed, not too heavily waxed, not too lightly waxed. It burns really nicely, does its purpose, does its job, and yeah. So that's why I'm putting a beeline patch on my jeans. I try to support and advertise for things that I believe in. Now, when you look at these jeans, keep in mind a lot of this stuff has been done over the last 20 years. Some of it might not reflect my current state of mind or points of view. So don't judge me too harshly on what you see on the jeans. I'd say don't judge me at all, because it's not your place. But that's me being judgy, so I'm not going to do it. I try to take people at face value. You can never tell just by looking at someone who they are or what they are. That's something I get a kick out of the multi-millionaires that dress like slobs and then are walking along and get berated by some guy on his way to his Hyundai, and he hops into his Ferrari. Oh, cool. Well, that's a really good start to that patch. So today we got everything trimmed up, pinned, placed, pull the pin on that one, slide another pin in on this side just to keep everything gut and straight, gut and straighten. Replace this a little bit. Make sure it stays. Oh, there goes my voice again. Sorry to keep talking with my voice. I have this bad habit, it keeps creeping up into my throat. It's because of the way I sit. Anywho, I think that's looking good so far. I am going to trim this up a little bit because that is distracting me a touch. And if you're OCD about having the same color thread all the way around things, I'm sorry. This is not a very good channel for the OCD crowd. I'm sure you'll like some of the things I do, but not everything. So I've tried to loosen up with stuff like that over the years, and it's been hard. Anyways, thanks a lot for joining me. I really do appreciate the time we get to spend together. It's always good, productive, positive. Until next time, keep chilling. Don't forget your cookie. Peace.